Mortal Kombat 1 has chosen to reset the timeline of the MK universe once again. But compared to the last time, when we had a fresh new batch of characters with each installment, the team at NRS has decided to dig deep between the old couch cushions and pull out an assortment of characters to add to the latest entry of the franchise. To be clear, these are all exciting additions to a modern Mortal Kombat roster, and some of the redesigns have already given fans of the series plenty to be excited about. In the middle of all these new old characters showing up, it might be easy to get lost and forget who they are or who they were in timelines long ago. In fact, even if you've been playing Mortal Kombat since its last reset in 2011, you might not know all these characters, their stories, and their design. In today's DashFight video, we want to give you the context behind these characters, where they come from in the series, why some people might be super excited to see them once again in a Mortal Kombat roster screen, and how they are being set up for the new timeline. We won't be spoiling any details about the events of Mortal Kombat 1's story, but we will give you a rundown of where each character starts. So if you want to head into the game without any information, perhaps you would be interested in checking out the most unconventional characters in fighting games instead. While we are at it, remember that you can check out all these characters' pages on DashFight.com, alongside news, guides, and tournament results for all your favorite events. Although you are likely aware of him already, Kenshi is returning to the Mortal Kombat franchise as one of the most anticipated characters. Originally, from the first batch of 3D Mortal Kombat games in Deadly Alliance, Kenshi has become a fan favorite, even having a prominent spot in the series of comics and animated movies alongside legacy characters. During his original timeline run, Kenshi was an honored warrior who vowed to kill Shang Tsung in an attempt to free his ancestors from the Sorcerer's grasp. Eventually, he became a part of the Earthrealm forces and a good friend to Sub-Zero. This new installment of Kenshi also wipes away his existing story as a swordsman betrayed by the cunning Shang Tsung into taking Sento, his katana, and blinding himself in the process. This also means that, at least as far as we know, Takeda, Kenshi's son, has not been born in Liu Kang's timeline, nor has his confrontation with the mercenary group Red Dragon, or his participation in the mission of the Special Forces to stop Shinnok's release. Instead, a young Kenshi is on a mission to reclaim his family's honor, which has been eroded away after centuries, culminating in the current members of the Takahashi family serving organized crime, such as the Yakuza. Another beloved character of the franchise that has surprisingly little weight in the original timeline of the series. Although Smoke would rise in popularity over time, it is now in Mortal Kombat 1 that he might finally play a part in the overarching plot of the series alongside his adoptive Lin Kuei family. Prior to Liu Kang's new timeline, Smoke was a Lin Kuei warrior excelling at the art of stealth. Although he has no recollections of his upbringing, he believes Sub-Zero and the rest of the Lin Kuei to be his family. As the Lin Kuei undergoes the Cyber Initiative, Smoke is one of the few ninjas to refuse an escape. During the invasion of Earthrealm by the Outworld forces, Smoke, alongside the other warriors, confronts a now cyborg Sub-Zero. They are able to knock him out of the fight and later reprogram him back to his real self. Unfortunately, Smoke would later fall to a Sindel and Cyborg ambush, which allowed Quan Chi to resurrect him as a revenant. Lacking his free will, he helped Quan Chi and Sindel release Shinnok and invade Earthrealm, now on the side of the Netherrealm. In the new universe, Smoke is adopted as a child by the Lin Kuei Grand Master, after his family is wrongly massacred for entering the clan's territory. Tomas was then raised alongside Sub-Zero and Scorpion, seeing both as his brothers. Lacking in their supernatural powers, Smoke chose to learn practical magic, eventually becoming a great ninja by his own will and embracing smoke as one of his primary utilities. If you want to learn more about Smoke's past identity, or any of the ninjas for that matter, we have a two-part series here on YouTube. Even if you consider yourself a veteran of the series, having played since Mortal Kombat 9 back in 2011, you might have turned your head at Li Mei, who was nothing more than a background character. But now she has returned as a playable character to the delight of the Outworld enjoyers. Originally, Li Mei and her people, Outworlders called Sun Do, were enslaved by Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Her fighting spirit became more well known as she sought to free her people. Eventually, Quan Chi took notice. Curious about her strength, he offered her an opportunity to free her people by participating in his tournaments. Unsurprisingly, he did not follow through and attempted to use her to revive Onagog's army. Before the most recent timeline reset, Li Mei was a Sundo outworlder. These people were forced out of their homelands by a Shinnok-empowered Melina. Li Mei would eventually meet with Earthrealm forces and provide some assistance to their attempt at stopping the rampaging Melina. Now, Liu Kang World has made Li Mei a warrior priestess of the Ungadi, protectors of the Outworld royal family. However, she would willingly step away from this role after being blamed for a terrible tragedy. Li Mei now seeks to right that wrong, prove she is worthy of respect, and redeem herself in the eyes of the Outworld. If there were Hall of Fame votes from Mortal Kombat characters, there would surely have been a campaign to get Tanya inducted into it. She is one of the many characters of the early 3D era Mortal Kombat games that some people might have forgotten while others held near and dear to their hearts. She represented an interesting conflict in the politics of Outworld. As the daughter of an Indenian ambassador of conquered people, her story could take many turns. Originally the daughter of an Indenian ambassador, Tanya eventually came to serve Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. As the internal political struggles of Outworld came and went, so did Tanya's alliances, making sure she did everything she had to survive, including assisting the Dragon King after his takeover of the realm. Before Liu Kang changed the timeline, she was a loyal Indenian fighting against Shao Kahn and his conquest of the region, allying with Melina as she sought to overthrow Kotal Khan. For Tanya, the possibility of freeing her people was worth the label of a traitor. After the reset, she is now part of the warrior priestess bodyguard of the Outworld royal family called the Ungadi. Over time, she became one of the most respected warriors, and after Li Mei was ousted as the leader, it was Tanya given the honor of fronting the role. However, she is at risk, as her close relationship with Melina goes against the Ungadi's guidance. Once a cleric of chaos, Havik now seems to target his violence and disobedience not toward everyone, but specifically toward the Order world that shaped him. A core antagonist of the Mortal Kombat comics, he returns as a playable character after nearly 15 years of absence, outside of cameos, of course. Originally a Chaos Realmer, Havik looked to bring that chaos to other realms, deeming the order and peace of others weak, and seeing the havoc he brought as a blessing to others. Before Liu Kang's reset, Havik had made a deal with Quan Chi to destabilize the other realms. Part of the plan was to use Reiko and the Kamidogu daggers to harness the power needed to release Shinnok and bring forth destruction to an unprecedented scale. Eventually, Earthrealm forces would discover the scheme and fight Reiko, Quan Chi, and Havik to stop it. Havik would meet his end on this timeline after Scorpion, who had been imprisoned inside Netherrealm, escaped, ripped his head off, and sent it back to the Netherrealm. There, Havik would meet his final end at the hand, or more accurately the boot, of Quan Chi, finally killing him. In the new timeline, Havik is now a resident of the Order Realm, a highly oppressive world where even the slight show of disobedience is punished harshly. Sick of his oppressors, Havik now presents as a freedom fighter of the Seeden people, looking to overthrow the tyrannical regime by any means necessary. Speaking of violence, Ashrah, a demon-turned-demon hunter, returns to the series with a backstory that's mostly unchanged. Across all timelines, Ashrah devotes her life to destroying what she was once a part of. As a Netherrealm demon herself, she was supposed to embody violence toward the other realms. However, upon discovering Chris and its cleansing properties when it struck down demons, she turned on her fellow Netherrealm demons, choosing instead to fight the evil and violence they brought to the world, protecting the other realms. Her almost religious devotion to slaying other demons materialized from Chris, through which every demon soul she destroys, in turn, rids her of a piece of evil in herself. In Liu Kang's timeline, she once more walks this path of opposing her nature as a demon, choosing instead to help Liu Kang keep the forces of chaos at bay in this new universe. A beloved ninja returns, almost a cult classic choice for Mortal Kombat fans. Reptile has been one of the characters everyone agrees should have a place in a modern Mortal Kombat title. Originally working as one of Shang Tsung's bodyguards and later under Shao Kahn's command, and finally as a general to Shinnok, Reptile became a respectable figure among the Outworld forces. He also uncovered a plot by Shang Tsung and Quan Chi to kill Shao Kahn, but it was too late to inform the Emperor of Outworld about his servant's betrayal, as the plan was already in motion. Reptile would wander the Outworld, before eventually coming to serve Nitara in her conquest of Earthrealm. Prior to Liu Kang's reset, he remained a servant to Outworld leaders, including Kotal Khan, who seemed to appreciate Reptile's qualities as a master of stealth and camouflage, and thus assigned him to be one of his most loyal spies and bodyguards. During Mileena's uprising, Reptile had the opportunity to turn against Kotal, but chose to stay by his side. In the new timeline, his home of Zatara still stands, though he is now an outcast because of his ability to shapeshift into a human form on top of his camouflage ability. Rejected by his peers, Reptile, also known by his name Zyzoth, now seeks to build a new home outside of Zatara. Throughout the previous timelines, Reiko's origins revolve around his military prowess as an Outworld general, leading his armies to conquest for Shao Kahn. A ruthless and commanding figure, Reiko imposed extreme violence upon his subordinates. Prior to Liu Kang's new universe, Reiko was manipulated by Havik, who had given him access to blood magic. Reiko would become enthralled by it, as empowered by an old prophecy that he would one day reign over Outworld. Determined to achieve what he thought was already written, he followed Havik's plan. Reiko's scheming would eventually lead to Kotal's and Mileena's civil war over the Outworld throne. Reiko was able to gather the Kamidogu daggers, a prerequisite to the ultimate power that blood magic held, but in an unexpected turn of events, Havik was less than truthful with him about the nature of the power. Reiko would be defeated and revived in the flesh pits, but the hunger powerful blood magic demanded of him made him go insane with pain, ripping himself apart. In Liu Kang's timeline, Reiko and his family were caught up in the middle of a war when he was just a child. Having to fight to survive in that environment, and having lost his family in the process, Reiko became a brutal fighter. At first, the Outworld troops were more than ready to kill him once imprisoned, but General Shao saw something in him, a will to fight unlike no other, and decided to spare his life. Now, Reiko dutifully serves under Shao, as one of his most loyal commanders. Throughout the original timeline, Nitara was one of the many Moroi, a race of vampiric people that mostly kept to themselves, taking pride in their independence amid the ever-belligerent Outworld. However, her realm, Vaeternus, could be untangled from it through the power of the portal sphere. But her efforts would ultimately falter, and Vaeternus would remain part of the Outworld for centuries to come. Although strong enough to maintain their freedom, something still threatened the Moroi, a Chris blade they called Datusha, which had now found a new owner in Ashrah. Nitara now needed to uncover a way to stop her and cease the relentless killing of her people. In Liu Kang's new timeline, Nitara still leads her people within Vaeternus, inside the realm of Vaeternus. But centuries of peace have led to the vampiric people overfeeding, destroying its natural order, and threatening to collapse its society. Nitara must now save her people by any means she deems necessary. A plethora of characters from the older Mortal Kombat games are returning to Mortal Kombat 1. Some of these have had plenty of stories over the years, and ideas that could be explored in the new timeline, while others are almost a blank slate upon which NRS can impart something brilliant. So go ahead and tell us in the comments below which old new character you are looking forward to the most, and we'll see you in the next video.